Hello everyone and welcome to the last Stata introductory video tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about commands such as rename, recode, drop, and label variable and label values, among a couple others. We'll be using the flavor2.csv dataset that you can find on the Research Support Center website. I already have that in my downloads folder, so in order for me to use that, I need to type in insheet using flavor2.csv, and it's always good practice to type in comma clear. So now we can see that we've got 4 very badly named variables because this tells us nothing. But let's go ahead and take a look at our data set to see if we can figure this out. So all of these are in red, which means they're text, whereas all of these are black, which means they're numbers. And Derek, Steve, and Marsha, these are probably names. This is probably age. These, I'm assuming, is the flavor variable. This is the flavor data set. And this is 1s and 2s, so this is probably gender. So let's rename these variables instead of v1, v2, v3, v4. Let's name them so that they can reflect that. So this is really simple. We just type in rename. We type in what we want to rename and what we want to name it now. So we want it to be name, because that's what it is. And as you can see up here, it is now reflecting that change. So let's go ahead and do that for the rest of them. So this one was age. Variable 3 was flavor. And variable 4 was gender. So now these make a lot more sense. But sometimes we don't like the way these are coded. Because, let's look at gender. It's 1s and 2s. Sometimes in statistical tests you want 0s and 1s. So I'm going to show you how to recode that so that you can quickly change those to be 0s and 1s. So the code is recode, the command is recode. And what do we want to recode? We want to recode gender. And we want all of the 2s to be equal to 1s. We want all of the 1s to be equal to 0s. And then we're going to generate a new variable. You don't have to, but it's good practice to, this is one way to save your data. So we're going to call this gender dummy because it's now a dummy variable with 0s and 1s. As you can see right here, we've created a new variable, and it tells us that we have 33 differences between gender and gender dummy. That at least lets us know that 33 variables were created. And as you can see right here, all the 1s are now 0s in a different variable. All of the 2s are now 1s in another variable. But what happens if you want to recode ranges? Like you saw, age had ages between 17 and 20 something. So let's recode age, and let's create groups like teenagers. Our 17 was the lowest, so we'll go 17 to 19. And we'll say that they are teenagers, and then we'll say everyone else 20, and I forget what the highest is, but we can just say max. We can also say min instead of 17. Either one works. We're going to set these equal to 0 because they are not teenagers. And then we'll create a teenager variable. You can see right here that teenager was now created and that there were 33 differences, or 33 observations that were created. And so as you view your data, you can see that this right here is a 0 and age is 21. 21 is not a teenager, but 18, 17, 19, and 19, they all are. Boom. You've got 4 teenagers right there. Now let's say we coded that wrong, and I wanted to just drop this entire variable. There's an easy way to do that, and that's by dropping it. So you just say drop, and then you put in the variable name. And as you can see, the variable teenager no longer appears here, and it told us that it dropped it. But what would happen if you wanted to just drop certain observations? The command is similar. You say drop if. So let's say we don't like people who chose flavor less than 2, less than or equal to 2. So that means everyone who's got a 1 and a 2 should be dropped. And as you can see, 22 observations were deleted. So let's browse the data, and we just have a handful, and only 3s and 4s for flavor are now there. So that's cool. Other ways, those are some wonderful ways to manipulate your data to get it to be the way that you want. Other ways to handle things are with labels. So as you can see, the variable name is name, but sometimes it's like, C underscore, this, that, and the other thing, and it's just a horrible name. But you can have a label here that makes a lot more sense, and labels are meant to be more English. So if you want to label your variable, you just type in that label, variable, then you tell it what variable you want to label. So let's label flavor, because what is this really a flavor of? Not 100% sure. Well, I'm just going to say it's ice cream. And let's just call the ice cream variable. Boom, you can now see that the ice cream variable is that variable. So now when I do tests, ice cream variable will show up, or I could put ice cream flavor instead of just flavor. And that's nice because I don't want to have to type in ice cream flavor every time. I just want to type in flavor when I'm doing my tests, but I want it to display ice cream flavor. That's what that does. But now, we've got a variable label, but what about value labels such as gender? Because I hate to break it to you, 1s and 2s are not genders. Male and female are. And I don't know how the person who originally came up with this data set actually coded these. That's why having value labels is important, because is 1 male or female? Not 100% sure. I'm going to go with female, and I'm going to show you guys how to label values. So what we first have to do is define the label. So you use the command label and you type in define. So we're going to call this sex, and we're going to say that 1s are female and that 2 are males. So what this is in a sense creating like a name tag. Okay, right now I'm just writing down, I've pulled out name tags and I'm writing down female and male, but I haven't given those name tags out to anyone. So now I have to give them out by typing in label, values, and now I put in the variable that I want to label, and I want to label gender. But it doesn't know with what to label it. And we just defined sex as a new label. So now we say, this is the name tag that I'm going to be giving it. So now, when I browse my data, all of my 1s and 2s are females and males. And the reason this is in blue versus red is because, see how I'm highlighted over Stephen right here? Right here gives you the actual value of this cell. The actual value is Stephen, the string Stephen. This one is 18. This one is 3. So what would this one be? This one, the value is 1, but it's labeled female. That's why it's in blue. So that's kind of cool. And other things that you can do to manipulate your data. Sometimes, let's go back to browse. Sometimes strings are difficult to deal with, and so Stata has commands such as toString and dstring that help you go back and forth between them. So let's say we wanted age. Let's say this was an actual ID number instead of age for whatever reason. And it's a number and we want it to be a string. You can use the toString command and then you replace it. So, and as you can see, these are just different data types. Age is now in red because it is now a string variable, not a number variable. Okay, that might not be the most useful thing for you at this time, but usually something with like an ID will work well with that. But let's say age, like this example we've got now, age is now a string, and I don't like that. So I need to destring it. So I just say dstring age, age, and then I need to replace. And so as you can see, age has all characters numeric. Boom, it has now switched them all back to numbers. And there you go. There are some simple ways for you to manipulate your data, help clean up your data set, and I hope you guys enjoyed these videos.